What's up guys, YST here and welcome back to another Raid Shadow Legends video. And kicking off with the Road to Lydia series, episode 2, we have got the Lizardmen Faction Wars. Now, if you're new to the series, which most of you guys probably are, because it's only episode 2, we are going to be taking on a stage 21 of each Faction Wars crypts with budget variation teams like you see today. Now, I'm going to break down the gears and stats towards the end of the videos. But of course, before we get into the run, I'll discuss why I've chose these champions. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so we're going to kick off with Jarek here. Now, this champion is amazing because he's got the increased defense, he's got ally protection, which is really strong against this boss, and he also places decreased attack. Now, those are three really crucial things. So if you've got a Jarek, a really good champion to bring into the mix. We have got a Venomage, who applies a heal reduction for damage mitigation, poisons, drop defense, and also that drop attack. Really great champion. Aox Rememberer, he's able to decrease turn meter, place decreased attack and crit rate, and he can also do a substantial AoE heal. Aox is actually one of my favorite champions when it comes to epics. Raz and Scarhide is a fusible legendary champion for all players to attain, as long as you can get it done. Granted, it's pretty hard to get this fusion, but I'm just assuming if you're going for stage 21 in your faction wars towards Lydia, 9 times out of 10 you should have your Razin by now, right? Broadmoor we got at rank 50, and this champion is attainable for all players as well. So if we just head out of here, go into fusions, I actually need to clean up my Karato. So where is it? Broadmoor. All you have to do is get these 4 rare champions, make this dude, and he's going to be amazing for you. While we're on this page, let's just speak about his kit, right? So what he's there to do is literally this ability. Revive 2 random dead allies and places a block damage buff on the revived allies. So if you're going towards the end of the run, your Broadmoor's still alive, you can just quickly bring those allies back so they can't get mitigated when the boss hits them with that block damage. And that's pretty much how you can cheese towards the end of the run for your 3 stars. So before we get into the run here, let's just quickly go over the boss guide as usual. So we're going to have the A1, which can ignore defense based on enemy max HP and attack. Now this is where having decreased attack can mitigate that for you. Also the heal reduction of Venomage, really going to help you out in survivability. But this is what I like to do personally. Build your champions with a blend of defense and HP to counter the ignore of defense and also the enemy max HP. So you're not super hit on those hits. That's where I like to be comfy. But bringing the ally protection with Jarek mitigates pretty much all of this damage here. Really helps you out in surviving. Also on this A2, removes all debuffs from this champion, places that true fear and a stun on all other allies. Now the one that gets feared is going to be the one that gets chopped down by this one on the next turn. So just be wary of that. And he also fills his champion's turn meter by 2% for every 1% they lose of HP. So if you're bringing in really strong damage dealers, that turn meter is going to shoot up to full, which means that this dude's going to be taking his turns quicker. Now I like to take the slow approach with this, so you can get as many turns in as possible to be able to cycle through your ally protection ability. So let's get into the run here. Okay, so once you come into this here, you can pretty much click auto until we get to the second wave. So let's just speak about the champions. So drop turn meter, increase our speed with the Broadmoor. We got drop defense and poisons and heal reductions. The poisons are really great with the Venomage, I gotta be honest, because it just speeds up that process, right? So even if once you get to the boss, you don't have to go through such a long process on the waves just by bringing in a Venomage here. Now none of my champions are built for high crit rate or high crit damage. It's just debuffs, mainly poisons. So let's just cycle through here. And guys, just before we get to the boss here, I want to ask you a quick question. Now, would you guys be okay with occasionally me bringing in one void epic in some of the crypts? Because just like you guys, I don't have every champion in the game. So in order for this Road to Lydia series to be successful, I may occasionally have to bring in one void epic, right? And in my opinion, it's a lot better than showcasing legendaries, for instance, right? So I can only do what I have on my account. Otherwise, I can't show every single crypt. But I'll leave that to you guys to let me know in the comments. I personally think having one void epic here and there is still free to play friendly, right? Like, it's pretty much impossible to have a full free to play team anyway, because not all champions are free. You still have to summon them. And I'm pretty sure most players have summoned at least a few void shards by now, especially if they're doing stage 21. But anyway, without the rambling on, let's just carry on here. You may want to focus on the Paragon, because he's got that unkillable, which is really annoying. Okay, so once you get to like 2 enemies, just cycle through your A1 abilities to make your run as smooth as possible. It is full auto if you just want to get any stars, but if you're going for that 3 star, I do recommend just holding off on your abilities, especially that ally protection. So let's just cycle through here. And boom. Now, on this part here, if your rank 50 Broadmoor is getting targeted with fear off the jump, redo the run, because he's not as tanky as our other champions with being a rank 50. If he's rank 60, by all means, you can just carry on the run here. So what he's going to do is, he's going to remove all of his buffs and place those true fears and the stuns. You cannot resist these. He grants an extra turn and leads into that A1, which will ignore defense, and it does really smack. So this is where you do want to place the ally protection from the jump. By some chance, you could probably drop the turn meter straight away and cycle through this ally protection. I wouldn't do it. This is what I like to do. So just A1s. Okay, let's just do a A1 as well. Doesn't really matter. A1. And now we're all covered. Now, Broadmoor is going to be the target, unfortunately. But look how much damage was mitigated just through those ally protections. Now here, we can place those drop attacks. Oh, unfortunately, we got feared there, which is a bit unfortunate. But let's see how this goes. Damage mitigation with the heal reduction. AoE heals. Drop that turn meter. Okay, we should be good here. A1. Drop that turn meter down again. Try and get some more hits in. Right, let's get drop defense and weaken. Oh, I pressed the wrong ability. He's gonna get hit again. We managed to survive it there. Like, this is really lucky. Traditionally, you really want to have the ally protection up. A1s. Hopefully we can survive this here. Okay, so our Broadmoor is unfortunately getting targeted. Let me just redo the run, because this is a realistic view. I'm not going to cut this out. I want you to see what can happen, and with some decent RNG, what will happen. So let's just go into the next one. Alright, so same kind of deal. We've got the ally protection. We're just going to cycle through those A1s again. Drop the crit rate and the attack here instead. Then we just cycle through with a A1 actually. Let's just save that ability for the next one. Let's just increase our speed here, because I'm pretty sure he might not go for Venom H, but let's see. Alright, let's just put this on now. A1s with a poison. Okay. Alright, so it's going on at Aox, who's not under ally protection, unfortunately. But we're just going to place those heals, which we managed to save our abilities. Drop turn meter, drop attack, of course, and spam through the A1s. Put this A2 on here. Okay, let's just drop down that decreased attack and crit rate again. And okay, drop defense and weaken. He's getting smacked, but it's all good. As long as your Broadmoor is not being targeted, that's where your run is going to go smooth. That's what I want to show you here. Now, that's only if you're bringing in a rank 50. If you bring in a rank 60, it will go so much more smoothly, just by having so much more tankiness on him. So ally protection, look at that mitigation on our Aox. Now I do kind of want someone to die here, hopefully. So let's just place the heals. Okay, so Razen isn't under ally protection. Okay. I'm pretty sure he's going to die here. Nearly. Heal up a little bit. Yeah, he's gonna die. So now we can showcase what I meant by cheesing with Broadmoor. So decrease attack. Now you can revive him now. You could potentially wait as well. So hopefully he's gonna hit our rods in here, but let's see. Alright, that's not too bad. So now we pretty much won, right? Let's just put some A1s. Yeah, this is a done deal. And boom, Broadmoor gets the final hit. Let's go. So that was a pretty successful run. It took us 2 attempts. I didn't want to edit out the first one because many people trying to replicate this may get the same kind of RNG, and I want you to see some realistic views of what could happen and why sometimes you may need to reset the run just until you get it right. And that was a pretty good run there. So of course Jarek, ally protection really strong, Venomage with those damage mitigations and poisons, we got Broadmoor to clutch revive towards the end, Aox to remember for those drop attacks and the turn meters and crit rates, and Razin for drop turn meter, decrease defense and weaken, and just a pretty good champion to bring in here. So let's go over the stats and some other options you may want to use. Okay, so let's kick it off with Aox, and we've spoken about his skills already. He's got poisons, he's got heals, decreased crit rate, decreased attack, and the extension of being hit, which won't have so much play here, but it's still effective. Now we've got him in lifesteal, overall stats, very high HP, a nice blend of defense as well to kind of balance both of the boss's abilities. 187 speed, that's pretty slow, and enough accuracy just to place those debuffs. Now you could probably go 200, still going to be effective. This is just for other areas of the game. Masteries, we've got an offensive down to War Master and the defensive tree. And the next champion on the list was our Venomage, and she is in Stalwart. There's no reason for it, the boss pretty much does single target abilities, and that's what's killing us. This was just mainly for clan boss, but we've got high HP, high defense, 191 speed, which isn't fast at all, and once again, good accuracy. You kind of get the theme here, right? A nice amount of HP, but also a nice amount of defense to coincide with that. Decent speed to cycle through your abilities, and you're good to go. Masteries, the same as our first champion with Aox, and she's got the heal reductions, she's got drop defense, and those poisons. Really great champion. Now, this was the damage reduction I was talking about. So if the boss is under a heal reduction, deals 15% less damage. Really great passive here. Next on the list was Jarek. Now, he's the fastest in the bunch at 236 speed. And the reason for it is, his ally protection is on a 4-turn cooldown. We want to cycle this so it kind of blends with the boss's attacks as well when he does those fears and true fear stuff. So having ally protection consistently is really going to help out here. And of course that drop attack on the A1 and the passive with the continuous heal when your targets drop below 20% in one hit, which of course is always going to happen here. Broadmoor, a rank 50 lifesteal set. Look at his speed, 139. It's crazy. We've got no masteries. Is he booked? No books as well. And pretty much a lifesteal set with HP percent and defense percent. That's it. You only want him to survive until that final round in case somebody else dies, and you can just pick it up so you can get those 3 stars, which is what this series is about, right? So that was those champions, and Razin Scarhide. He's at 179 speed, really slow again, and just trying to get the accuracy and the sustainability. Masteries, same as the other ones, but with him, go for Giant Slayer, because he's got a triple hit on his A1 ability. So that was the gear and stats of the champions I used today, and let's just head into the index of some other honorable mentions. Okay, now bringing in pretty much any of these legendaries here are going to be effective. My favorite being Roxham, just because I have him. He's kind of got like those perfect veils, he's got drop defense and weaken, etc. Now I must say, if you do not have Razin by any chance, and you got a Roxham, really fun champion to bring in here, because he's got the drop defense and weaken on an AoE. So trying to get through those waves, he's a great champion to bring in, but he's not super necessary, right? Hushan, of course, he's got that speed aura, which can really help out, and he's got the stuns for the waves. Frisk, of course, MVP, he's got provokes, he's got ally protection, continuous heals. If you got this dude, you've probably 3-starred already. You've got champions like Dracomorph and all that stuff, but Let's not talk about legendaries. Now, there is one champion here that is pretty cool. Is it this one? Yeah, so revives his champion to 30% HP when killed and places a block damage buff for 1 turn. So if by some chance you bring in this champion similar to like a Broadmoor, if you've seen in the first run he was being targeted, he's able to revive himself and place that block damage on himself, right? So he's a really good cheese champion as well if you want to bring him in. And he's not too bad as well. Like, he's got an AoE on the A1 and he's got a stun on the A2. But mainly for this passive, guys. Now we've also got a Broadlord or Broodlord, however you say his name. And he's got the ally protection, very similar to a Jareg. And he's got this 50% ally protection and a block debuffs on a 3-turn cooldown. And in my opinion, I think he's a bit better than Jareg for this. But of course, he hasn't got decreased attack like the other champions. So if you do have decreased attack in your team anyway, and you don't have a Jareg, definitely think about bringing this dude in. Really great champ. And a defense aura. Now let's talk about Void champions, Scathix. And he removes all debuffs with like a cleanse, places block debuffs and shields, AoEs, and also a nice A1 of decreased speed. Also places a passive of a block damage on this champion when they lose 30% HP. Now if he's the stun target, he's able to kind of block that damage and survive through it. But the champion that I really like personally is Bogwalker. Now, I'm not telling you to 6-star this dude by any means, but if you just need a decreased attack champion, this dude places the big version of that on a pretty low chance. It's around a 50% chance, but it's on his A1 like a Jareg. He also places an increased defense with an AoE and has a reflect damage. So Bogwalker definitely want to keep an eye out for. And that is going to be all for the video. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode. Peace.